All right, Chad, would you like to lead us, or should I start with a roll call?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes. All right.
All right, we are going to convene the February 5th, 2026 Solid Waste Advisory Committee meeting for Thurston County. And we will go ahead and start the roll call.
All right.
All of our attendees.
And if through roll call, if people could, if you could announce which entity people are representing and not just their name, that would be very helpful to the two of those of us that are new.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
So David Nightingale, business interest.
Here.
Chad Sutter, industry recycling.
Here.
Emily Klaus, county commissioner.
Here.
Craig Unsold, Port of Olympia.
Here.
Paul Barrett, City of Olympia.
Zen.
Ryan Sue, City of Lacey.
Here.
Joan Kathy, City of Tumwater. Brian Hess, City of Yelm. Elaine Clam, City of Tenino.
Here.
Laura Wilson, Town of Bakota. Lisa Harrison, District 1 resident.
Here.
Jane Appling, District 5 resident. Greg Schoenbachler, agricultural interest. Aaron Robertson, industry refuse.
Sure.
And for non-voting member, Christina Kohlberg, Washington State Department of Ecology. Yeah. All right, and then online, I'm going to try to introduce Thurston County staff. I'm Laura Glover, I'm the solid waste planner. In the room, we have Maggie Brown.
Morning.
I see that Rachel Baird is online. We have AJ Mai from the county commissioners. We have Corey Carlton, MRC program. We have Jenny Post, MRC program. Kylie Graber. Kimberly Graham. Matt Samuelson. And Zach Davis Price. And then let's see who else we have. We have Alyssa Jones Woods from City of Tumwater. We have David Hoffman from Republic Services. And I think, oh, we have Sean Gilbertson. Oh, Teresa Wolin from Thurston County is online as well. If I didn't say your name, can you please introduce yourself?
Ron Jones, City of Olympia staff.
Oh, hi, Ron.
Hey, Greg Schoenbachler is I'm on a call.
Oh, hello.
Yep. Hi, sorry about that.
No worries. Anybody else that I missed? All right, so we do have a quorum today.
Great. All right, well, happy to have everybody here. Always appreciate the time that you guys dedicate out of your normal busy schedules to this. It's really gracious and it's important. So moving on to the approval of the minutes, do we have any amendments, or would anybody like to make any adjustments to the minutes that they received?
I move to accept the minutes for February 5th, 2026. Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved, approved. That's great.
Agenda.
And then I need somebody to go ahead and approve our current agenda, or are there any modifications that anybody needs to make to the current agenda?
I'd like to add a roundtable item for me. Yeah. about, well, I'm not gonna be here at the next meeting, but it's related to this.
Can we do it in the roundtable discussion at
Yeah,
8?
absolutely.
Okay, so
Okay.
nothing needs to be amended then.
Okay.
Can I get a motion on the floor to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda with with the amendment.
Oh, we don't have any amendment to it. It'll fit into the current agenda, how we have it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Did I get a second there?
Second.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so moved, approved. Thank you very much. All right, on to public comments. Do we have any guests in the room from the public? Any public comment? Anybody? Nope. All right. Old business. I'm not quite clear what this category is, but let's
Stuff from
talk about it.
Last meeting.
Our last meeting, well, I think our last meeting is all in that agenda item there. So is that what we want to get going on? Because that says new business.
Yeah, I think so.
Any old business that we need to address from the last meeting, or any questions, comments, concerns from anybody that we need to address here? No? Okay. All right, new business. So agenda item, and I think that this was kind of the hot topic that we were discussing the last time, is we wanted to allow some of the new members to be able to sit on the board, get their feet wet, or be here and be introduced. So hopefully if, now that we're here and that opportunity is present, we can elect a new SWAC and vice chair. Having said that, I want to take a moment just to address my position or my concern, since I get to be the chair today. I am fully in support of Commissioner Klaus taking on the chair role, if that is something that she absolutely wants to do. It's exciting. It's refreshing to see people that want to take that role, because it's not always present every single day that somebody wants to, go out of their way to take time and lead. Having said that, however, the only concern that I have with Commissioner Klaus about taking that role, and we've had this concern with other SWACs members, because I came onto this in like 2018, is you would have to remember that you have to represent the views of this commission rather than the views of the district you politically represent. And so as long as that can be achieved, full support for me, like take that role. Or at least I would endorse you for that role and get out of it. But our views here at the commission have to be represented. That's where it becomes challenging with political leaders and things like that. That's why we haven't necessarily done that in years past at the chair position for that role. So I'll let you kind of respond, Commissioner Klaus, if you wanted to. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate the support, the nomination. This is a group I'm really excited about and have grown increasingly enthusiastic about since I've been appointed back in 2024. And I totally understand the representation of the committee as a whole. It's standard on all my committees, and something that I do regularly with the Board of County Commissioners as well. So definitely understand and agree with that concern about representing the whole committee versus just my district. And I can totally commit to representing the committee as a whole.
That's great. I appreciate it. Now, with that said, do I have any other nominations? Just because I do need to make sure that I open it up to the floor. Those were the two parties of that were brought to the board, which was myself and Commissioner Klaus as a representative for the commission. But I do need to open it up to the board. Do I have any other nominees for anybody that would like to take the chair role within this commission? All right, having heard none, you have two options, myself or Commissioner Klaus for your chair. Go ahead and how do I don't know how to do the online thing to get everybody's vote, segregate it.
If you are online and you would like to vote for Commissioner Klaus to be chair, could you please raise your hand in the lower screen? 4.
We even get to vote for ourselves? Is that a thing? I don't even think, do we vote for ourselves? Or is it?
Imagine you could.
Oh,
I was thinking the bylaws prevent you from
well, then
voting.
okay, I vote for Commissioner Klaus.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, that is 6 out of 14 that I see. Let me see if there's an.
I
Okay,
can abstain too, so
I
third
see
option.
a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 out of 14. And if you would vote for, if you could all please lower your hands now. If you would like to vote for Chad Sutter as chair, please raise your hand. 2, 3, 3 out of 14. So it looks like we have 3 for Chad Sutter as chair.
Great. So with that, Commissioner Klaus will now be our new active chair moving forward. Congratulations. Looking forward for you being able to lead this committee and bring your new points of view to the forum every single day or every single month.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm open to meeting every single day if we want to.
I definitely
Don't
don't
think
have
so.
that. I definitely don't have that time in my life. I do need to elect the vice chair. So with that said, I'm still willing to stay in the role and help support Commissioner Klaus. I think that giving her the guidance around the actual industry itself and how everything becomes applicable, I think would be great assistance to her. And I'm still more than willing to provide that to the team if that's something that you guys want. Or I'm also open to anybody else that would like to come to the floor with nominations for vice chair.
Would anybody like to nominate themselves or others? All right, seeing none.
All right, having heard that, would anybody like to vote for me as vice chair?
I'm willing.
All right. 4, 5, 6. Okay, well, that's definitely the majority. So you've got.
Having heard that, Chad Sutter will remain on as vice chair of this commission, and we are in a good position to move forward now. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. So with that, I think that we can move to our next agenda item with the SWAC and the onboarding bylaws, a presentation by the SWAC team.
That would be me.
Let's go.
All right, is everyone able to see the screen that says Solid Waste Advisory Committee?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So this presentation is just going to be like a little brief onboarding about the committee and solid waste and our bylaws. Let's see. All righty. So for those of you who are new to the SWAC, I kind of just want to differentiate some of the roles of the solid waste. A lot of people kind of assume that we take care of everything with the county, but we actually don't. The waste hauling is carried out by Republic and LeMay. They are our contracted services. And then for us at the county, we own the facilities and our staff includes the toll house operators, the environmental techs, moderate risk waste assistants, litter crew, myself, recycling and waste reduction specialists, and management. And the county also partners with environmental health for hazardous waste. And we are responsible for the operations at the Wark and the Rainier and Rochester drop boxes. And we're also responsible for the rules, rates, policies, municipal ordinances, regulations, plans, programs, and advisory board. The waste haulers, LeMay and Republic, are subject to the UTC, which is the Utilities and Transportation Commission under WAC 48070. And municipalities like City of Olympia are annexed from the UTC service territory, so they are responsible for their own waste hauling services. Now, to start with our bylaws, our statement of purpose is the Solid Waste Advisory Committee is responsible for assisting in the development of solid waste handling and disposal and review and comment of proposed rules, policies, or ordinances. So what that will include is our solid waste management plan. In May, you will see that you will be introduced to our consultant for the solid waste management plan. And then we'll begin reviewing our old plan, which is on a 5-year cycle, in July. You will also assist with development of programs and policies concerning the solid waste handling and disposal, and review and comment on solid waste management rules, policies, and ordinances prior to their adoption. So most recently, some of the ordinances that we changed were for delinquent accounts, for accounts that we have here at the work. And then we had an ordinance passed for rate changes, which increased our rates at our facilities. And we will probably be attacking our minimum levels of service ordinance as well in the coming year.
And just to be clear, your accounts is only commercial because
Yes.
you don't allow accounts for residents, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make sure we clarify that.
Yeah, so our accounts would be, for example, LeMay, internal offices and entities of that nature. Let's see. So our bylaws are dictated by Chapter 8.22 of County Code, and it is broken into these different sections, which we're going to get into today. And these sections are also included in the onboarding notebook that I sent out in our email. I can also resend that because we actually did have to update it again this month. So I'll send you guys a new onboarding notebook after this meeting.
You want to tell us what's changed, just so we have an idea?
Yeah, so every time we get new appointments to the committee, we'll update their expiration dates and things of that nature. We also include in the back of the onboarding notebook, there is some metrics about our waste from the previous year, and so those are included in there as well that get updated. So the committee composition is consisted of 15 members. We have 1 county commissioner. We have 1 representative from each municipality. We have 1 port commissioner, 1 private business representative, 1 waste collection and hauling representative, 1 recycling industry representative, 1 agricultural industry representative, 2 residents from differing unincorporated districts, and 1 non-voting representative from the Department of Ecology. For our appointments, members are appointed by the BOCC. To kind of get into how that looks procedurally, usually municipalities will nominate a council member or representative to be appointed to SWAC. Once they have done that, they send that to me, and we put together some really lovely paperwork and send it to the BOCC so that they can approve that member at their next business meeting. For those who are not municipal members, usually they have to go through an application process where they will then be approved by the SWAC committee, and then they will be sent to the BOCC to be appointed. Your terms last 3 years. Usually, if your municipality appoints a new member, you will complete the term of the previous person. And if there is a vacancy, then usually that restarts the clock. For officers, we have a vice chair and a chair. The elections are held on the first or second meeting of the new year after January 1st. And each term is 1 year and no more than 2 consecutive years.
I think that needs to be clarified though, because it was the 2 consecutive years is just for the chair position itself, I thought.
I believe it's for both.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And for secretary, that means that you guys are appointed a staff member, which is me, to kind of manage all the documentation and the functions of the meeting. For attendance, If you miss 3 consecutive unexcused absences, it can result in your removal if the committee chooses to vote for your removal. I haven't personally seen this happen, but it is in our bylaws. For rules of order, that is basically the functioning of the meeting. We follow Robert's Rule of Order, which basically allows you to understand if you can make a motion, if you can debate, when you're allowed to do that. I would highly recommend that if you're not familiar with Robert's Rule of Order, you can go online and you can actually look up a cheat sheet and it'll tell you what to say to pass a motion or an amendment and things of that nature. For conflicts of interest, it's just stated that if you are aware of a conflict of interest, that you abstain from decisions that may directly or indirectly benefit yourself. However, this doesn't mean that you have to abstain from giving your expertise on the subject, only that you abstain mostly from action items, which include votes and, agenda minutes, things of that nature. For public representation of the SWAC, that is facilitated by the chair or whoever the chair designates. For subcommittees, you're allowed to create subcommittees, but it has to be permitted by the vote of a majority. And then for compensation, it is not permitted to receive any compensation to be on this board.
I think we should change that.
For the meeting structure, we have regular meetings. We choose to have meetings monthly, but in the bylaws, we are only required to have them quarterly. So if at any point the committee decides that they don't want to meet every month and would rather just meet 4 times a year, that's totally permissible. And you will receive 10 days notice prior. Usually what this looks like is an email. So just to give you guys an idea for those who are new, usually 2 weeks before a meeting, I'll send out an agenda item summary to let you know of the meeting date and time, location, and a rough draft of what our agenda will look like. And then 1 week beforehand, I will send you out the actual agenda and all the materials, which includes presentations, reports, agenda, and minutes. The agenda and minutes are prepared by myself and other staff here. And once the minutes have been written, they are supplied to you guys to vote on. And then they are posted following the meeting online for the public to see. The public is also required to have access to this meeting under the Open Public Meetings Act. I'll get into that in a little bit. And then for quorum, we have a simple majority of seated voting members. So our seated voting member total right now is 14, which means that we have to have 8 seated members so that we can have a quorum for the meetings. And then the conduct of meetings is just what you see the outline of your agenda look like. So a call to order, roll call, old business, new business. That's what you can expect from the conduct of our meetings. For recommendations by SWAC, for written reports, recommendations, and correspondence submitted to the BOCC, they shall be forwarded on behalf of the majority of the members and over the signature of the chair. For minority reports, if any, shall be attached to and forwarded with such reports, recommendations, or correspondence without comment by the chair.
Can anybody do a minority report, or does there have to be some type of a level of consensus there?
A level of for minority reports? I don't believe so. I think it just has to be like a supplementary material that you include. For the Open Public Meeting Act, so when new members are appointed to the committee, I usually send out a link from MRSC to receive some training and some education on what the Open Public Meetings Act is. Basically, for public bodies like the commissions and boards, that must be open to the public. Adequate notice has to be given prior to the meeting, And having a quorum or a simple majority requires a meeting or official business to be open to the public. If a quorum is present but a public meeting has not been announced, no official business may be discussed among members. So this part right here I want to highlight because we have a history of hosting tours for SWAC members. Sometimes there's a possibility that a quorum might be present at a tour. And in that case, none of us can discuss any SWAC business. We are just there for educational purposes only. So if we do have business being discussed, then notice has to be given, and we will have to provide minutes to the public in that instance.
And the other thing is in your emails for any new members, make sure we're not replying all in any of your emails. That would also cause problematic situations.
That is correct. Meeting recordings and minutes are made publicly available. So if you missed a meeting and you want to catch up, you can go on to our solid waste website for our solid waste advisory committee, and all of the previous agendas, minutes, and recordings are posted there. We also have a county YouTube page where you can watch previous recordings. And that is all that I have for the bylaws.
Thank you so much for preparing that, Laura. Does anybody have any questions for Laura around that particular presentation?
I see Emily Klaus.
Sorry, I missed. Commissioner Klaus.
Yeah, no worries. It looks like my internet's a little glitchy, so I'm gonna turn my camera off. Can you guys hear me okay still?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for the presentation. I appreciate it, and I had a chance to look over the onboarding notebook before the meeting, and I also have the code, the Thurston County Code, Chapter 8.22 in front of me, and the copy I have in front of me for the code is from, it says created 2025, but it still has the membership makeup of 3 citizen representatives from each of the unincorporated jurisdictions of each commissioner district, which sounds like it's old from when we had 3 commissioners. I'm wondering what the process was for changing the membership structure when we went to 5 commissioners. Did that require an update of the bylaws and approval by the Board of County Commissioners, or what is that process like?
I wasn't here for that, unfortunately, but I know that, where did you get the chapter? Did you get it online from the Municode library?
Let's see. AJ was the one who pulled it for me. AJ, do you happen to know off the top of your head where you found that?
Yes, I did get it online at the Municode library.
Okay, so just so everyone's aware, we do pass some ordinances and they are supposed to be posted onto the Municode library, but sometimes it's delayed, sometimes by a few years. So it actually hasn't been updated on the Municode library, unfortunately. But the last time they updated the number and the makeup of the committee, it was to add an agricultural representative. And they didn't want to go over, I believe, 15 members. So they they switched the spots, I believe. But I wasn't here for that, so take that with a little bit of a grain of salt.
Yeah. I mean, don't hold me to it, but I thought that the Solid Waste Advisory Board was the one who actually approved that. And I think that at the time it was,
They would, yeah.
we were having challenges in terms of participation. So that was some of the changes that.
Yeah, and any ordinance or change to these bylaws has to be instigated by SWAC. So if at any point this committee wants to change any of these bylaws or change the ordinance for the makeup of this committee, then you guys would have to vote on it. Usually the staff, myself, would draft that ordinance and bring it to the SWAC first, and then it would go to the BOCC for approval.
And my recollection is that we didn't want to expand to have a citizen representative from every district. And so that's why, a different method was put in place. And so that's why we don't have one from every district. I mean, again, we could change that if we want, but that was the decision made at that time.
Okay, thank you for the reference. Any other questions for me?
I guess in alignment with that question, why are we not receiving participation out of the Portable Olympia? Historically, we've always received participation from Portable Olympia.
Oh, Portable
I can
Olympia is Prague owned Solch.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Masters, I'm sorry.
That was from the minutes. It was vacant for the last meeting. The one entity that we have not been able to get membership from is City of Rainier, and we've reached out multiple times with no response. So
That's just demographics of the city.
yeah. So that's the only vacant position we have right now. All of our other positions are filled. All right.
Anybody else for Laura?
And if you have any questions at any point, I'm happy to respond to emails. I try to respond as quickly as I can and update materials as they become available. So I will, again, send out that onboarding notebook that's been updated to the members after this meeting.
That's great. Thank you so much. Moving on to our next item, master recycler compost update. Corey.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Corey.
Hi, Laura, are you going to share our slides?
Yes, I can
Okay.
do that.
Great. So hello, everyone. I'm Corey Carlton. I'm the program manager for the Master Recycler Composter Volunteer Program. We also have our program assistant, Jenny Post, here. And traditionally, we would have been part of the larger education and outreach update. And so there was a discussion about having that presentation moved to April, the April meeting. But unfortunately, we already had our all group volunteer meeting scheduled for April 2nd on the same date. So, and with over 200 volunteers trying to reschedule something that we already had the room booked and all of those folks had it on their calendar. So we chose and asked to see if we could still give our presentation here in the March update. So this is a little bit out of sync. Traditionally, we would have had the update from the solid waste recycling and education specialist first, so that you could kind of see the overall program update from them from 2025. And then we are an extension of that program. And so anyways, it's a little out of sync, but I think after next month's presentation, you'll be able to see how we are married together. So for those that are unfamiliar, if you can go to the next slide. This is who we're connected with. So again, as I just spoke, we are an extension of the solid waste recycling and waste reduction specialist. Currently, those members are Rob, Maggie, and April, and Maggie's in the room right now with us. So they are housed at the Tilley campus, where Jenny and I are housed in the WSU Thurston County Extension office here at the Thurston County Fairgrounds. And the reason for that is that we have split jobs. So we are the program representation for the Master Recycler Composter program, which is a county-based program. And then we are also representative of the WSU Master Gardener Volunteer Program, which is a WSU managed program. So that's why we're housed here. Both Jenny and I have been in these positions for quite some time. This is my 18th year. Jenny's starting her seventh year as well. And so we have a long history with training volunteers and making sure that they have all the tools that they need so that they can go out in the community and help educate about gardening and waste reduction practices. So on that note, I think we'll move on to the next slide. So this presentation is just a couple slides. We were asked to give a summary about what happened in 2025. And so we just have a few slides here to explain kind of what happened. So right now, for our 2025, we had 224 volunteers that, again, Jenny and I oversee to make sure that they are meeting all their requirements. This is a high-level volunteer program. It is not typically viewed as being just like a one-time volunteer experience. This is something that they get extensive training in originally to become a volunteer. And then to keep that certification, they have ongoing service hour requirements and continuing education opportunities. So this year's breakdown, we had 54 MRC. And for the presentation, just so we're all clear, I will be using the acronyms MRC, representing the MRC program, and then the MG for Master Gardener program. So 54 MRC volunteers gave 2,168 hours of service last year, and 170 Master Gardeners gave 14,414 hours, with a total of 16,582 hours recorded of service throughout the community, throughout Thurston County. With that, we train new volunteers each year, this year, we are currently training 16 volunteers. They started their training in October and will be finishing up here on March 20th. This is the first time we've rearranged the training, and our next slide will be able to show you that in just a second. But in 2025, we also trained 24 new Master Gardener volunteers as well. And just as a summary, one question just for our new folks too, is that the Master Composter Program originally started in the 80s. And I'm not really sure when the Master Recycler Program started. It was a Thurston County Solid Waste Program back then. And then I do know that when I started, the programs officially merged a few years later, and we became the Master Recycler Composter Program. And that's when volunteers were all collaborate or brought together, so that way we could have a more collaborative effort in our waste reduction messaging. So, and then just for other reference, the Master Gardener program started in 1973, so they've been in existence for 53 years as well. So we're a longstanding volunteer organization throughout Thurston County. Okay, so this I do want to share a little bit about our training. So the training traditionally has been a evening training. So typically on a Wednesday or Thursday night, and we would meet typically from September through first part of December, and they would meet weekly and be able to learn everything they need to know in order to become a volunteer during that time frame. And then afterwards, once the initial training was over, they would then be able to go out and work on their community service hours. And each year, to remain in the program, each volunteer has to give 25 hours total, which is 20 hours of actual service and 5 hours of continuing education opportunities. So a year ago, about a year and a half ago, because the survey went out, we surveyed the community. We put an online survey out and asked what training format would you like to see? We hadn't done a daytime training in quite a few years, definitely pre-pandemic. So the survey results came back saying that they would like to see a day training, and instead of a weekly format, they would like to do twice a month. So for the 2025 training, we started with that meeting in October, running through March, meeting twice a month on Friday mornings from 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock. And that's so on March 20th, like I said, we'll be wrapping up our initial training for that for this particular class. A couple things that I did want to mention about this particular training is that because it was a day training, we were allowed to do some different things as part of the training. And that allowed us to go to visit some things and places. For example, Silver Springs Organics. We also did a waste and recovery center tour, and we also went out to Pioneer Recycling for our MRF tour as part of the training rather than a continuing education opportunity. Because typically when we would train on Thursday nights, those facilities were not open, and so we weren't able to do that as part of the training. It was more of a continuing education opportunity that we would do over the weekend. So by doing it in this format, it allowed us to do some additional types of training that really, I think, solidified all of their learning in a more condensed way. We still had our hands-on classes. So in these photos here, you can see that some of the volunteers are learning about composting and building a pile. We did worm composting education as well. And then we also went and toured the other facilities. The left photo there is from our bus tour for the Waste and Recovery Center. The middle photo is from our Silver Springs Organics tour too. One other thing I just did want to mention is we did add a couple other things. So a year ago at this presentation, Commissioner Klaus had asked that we add in a circular economy representation or class. And so we did have Nina Oliver from King County. She's the Circular Economy Program Manager. She came down and gave a presentation to our class. We also had our certified volunteers invited to also come to that presentation. And then Dan Weston from the Department of Ecology reviewed the statewide solid waste regulations and policies during that same class. So we did take your feedback as far as incorporating that into our training for this year. So after the March 20th class, they will have an opportunity to provide us with their evaluations from this year's training, and then we can evaluate if we need to, what types of changes we'll be making to our upcoming training. We have decided to keep this format for this 2026-2027 training cycle. So traditionally, when we change a format, we like to do it at least 2 years. So we have 2 years worth of data to figure out, again, the pros and cons of that particular style. Any questions about this so far before we move on? Okay, we'll keep going then. So some of our other accomplishments externally is that our program is based on 3 types of service. Both the Master Gardeners and the Master Recycler Composter programs mimic each other in this way. We have 3 main areas of service that are done, and then we have additional alternative service options that are situational. So the main 3 types that are consistent and have been literally for decades is question answer clinics. These are opportunities for us to bring the information out to the community in lots of different ways. We also have an online email address that any resident can email us any question as it relates to waste reduction or gardening. And those volunteers are trained to answer those questions remotely from home. So the virtual question answer clinic is one way we serve folks. We also go in person. And so some of the examples of this, we are going to be at, for example, this weekend at the Lacey Cultural Celebration. So the MRCs will be there representing the Master Recycler Composter program. We'll also have coming up in just a couple weeks, we'll be at the Capitol Mall at the end of the month on March 28th and 29th. We are there all day, both MGs and MRCs for a booth there. So we just go out to these different locations throughout the county and provide waste reduction information and gardening information at those spaces. So between the virtual and the in-person, we had 421 what we call Q&A clinics and over 20,000 inquiries from that. So at each of those events, the volunteers track how many questions were asked and also the categories in which the residents are asking questions. And so then at the end, we have the volunteers help me tabulate all of this information so that we can provide these numbers today. Our demo garden service parties. So for those that aren't aware, we have 3 demonstration gardens in the county. Our first garden is called Dirtworks. It's inside Yager Park. We also have our Olympia Farmers Market garden, which is again the garden adjacent to the Olympia Farmers Market. We maintain that space. And our third garden is at Closed Loop Park, which is at the Waste and Recovery Center. All of those gardens are all over 30 years old. And so they take a significant amount of volunteer capacity to maintain these spaces. And so with each of them, all told, if you look at they're just over about 5 acres that combined these spaces all entail. So we had 384 garden service parties in order to maintain these spaces. The MRC volunteers are there and responsible for maintaining the waste that comes from those gardens so that it's processed on site and then repurposed and reused and put back into the garden. So the master gardeners actually will do the pruning or waste collection for the waste material, the organics, and then the MRCs process that compost and then it is used back to fertilize the plants. And then we also did 40 public workshops as well. Internally, we also have to have that in continuing education opportunity. As we know with both of these industries is that there's a lot of things that change all the time. And so keeping our volunteers up to date about the most current information is really critical. And that's, again, an elevated volunteer role that they have is making sure that they continue with this continuing education. So we offer monthly continuing education opportunities called the MRC Cafes. We meet in person and in line. And then I also provided additional 36 opportunities for the volunteers to continue that ongoing education. Next slide, and Jenny's going to share with us about one of these specific community service programs.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to present to the committee today. So besides the program activities that Corey mentioned, one of last year's highlights for the Master Recycler Composter Volunteer Program was our Children's Garden Program. And this is a series of 5 classes held in the summer at our Dirtworks Demonstration Garden and Composting site. It's for kids age 4 through 12. And in 2025, we had 30 children plus their chaperones participate in lessons and activities led by MRC volunteers on recycling in the garden. And this class included worm composting, food and yard waste composting, and what goes into the curbside recycling and organic bin. So they could challenge their knowledge on that. The kids, with the help of their chaperones and program volunteers, also harvest produce grown for the Thurston County Food Bank, and the vegetable beds at Dirtworks are nourished with compost produced right on site by MRC volunteers. So the children's garden is really an essential part of our bigger outreach plan. We start with the young kids, and we want to raise their awareness for recycling, composting, and waste reduction. Next slide, please. And every fall, we recognize the substantial efforts of our Master Recycler Composter volunteers and our WSU Master Gardener volunteers at our awards event. And we also acknowledge our MRC volunteers that have earned their certification and MRCs that have been volunteering with our program for 5, 10, 15, 20, even more years. In 2025, we awarded Susan Bagden Master Recycler Composter of the Year. Suzanne serves with the community by answering questions about composting and recycling at our in-person Q&A clinic booths. She helps facilitate activities in the Children's Garden program. She mentors new volunteers as an MRC training mentor, and she's always ready to help with behind the scenes projects as well. And we are grateful for her time and talents. Next slide, please. And I'll hand it back to Corey. Oh, I think you're muted, Corey.
Oh, thank you. So our last slide here is what we're going to be doing for our 2026. This is just a couple of our goals and just updates about our service work that we are planning to continue to do for this year, since we're already in the month of March, and they've already been working a couple months on towards these goals. Like I said, we're going to be wrapping up our MRC new volunteer training here on March 20th, and then we'll be transitioning into planning for our fall training. Because of this new training format and this new reorganization of when we train, it's been a little bit of a challenge trying to figure out what our new norms are. And so in the fall, we will be training both groups of volunteers at the same time. And in all my years here, I've only had that happen one other time. And we anticipate there's going to be a little bit of a dance between how we manage all of that at the same time. That being said, we're going to spend these next couple months just making sure that we have all of our ducks in the row to make sure that they are happening. They're going to happen smoothly. So both trainings will start in October. And we'll be prepping for them in August and September to make sure that we're ready to go. And then they'll be training all through. MRCs will finish next March, and then MGs will finish in May of 2027. So, and then they'll continue with their service hours after that. So that will take definitely some time for making sure that we have everything that we need prepped and ready for that change to happen. That being said, while that's happening, the volunteers are actually going out there and doing all of the different program and service activities as it relates to those three major program areas. In addition, they are there to help and support the educators with any of their particular projects as well. And so any of the waste reduction specialists there can also solicit MRC volunteer help for their particular projects. And so those are added to the notification about when those projects are and what is needed, and then volunteers will be able to sign up for those as well. Right now, we currently have about 75 workshops and Q&A clinics already scheduled. Community workshops on there, and about 75 of the Q&A clinics already scheduled. So we anticipate there, and like we said, this weekend we'll be at 2 of them. We'll be also at the Thurston Conservation District Native Plant Festival, as well as the Lacey Cultural Celebration this weekend. But each weekend we've got more and more scheduled. And we'd encourage you to come out and visit us, especially the one on the 28th and 29th of March, since we'll be at Capitol Mall. It's an easy place for folks to get to. And we've really expanded that particular venue with reaching out to folks traditionally not within the normal waste reduction and gardening world here. So it's been nice to kind of expand that opportunity. As far as our public demonstration gardens, we have weekly service parties just to maintain those spaces. Dirtworks right now, we received a grant that is going to allow us to revamp the composting area. And so they've already been planning that, and we'll be starting the updates for that in just a few weeks. And our closed loop park demonstration garden, so we've been in the process of doing an upgrade for all of our gardens because they're all 30 years plus old, that their irrigation systems needed updates. And so for the last 3 years, we've been working on planning. And then the last 2 years, we've actually been implementing at Dirtworks and the Olympia Farmers Market Garden with new irrigation systems. And now we're finally at the third garden at Closed Loop. So we are literally this year we knew it was going to be about a 5-year project. We're in starting our year 4 of this project, and we are excited about this last garden to get updated and then to see the finish line. So our nonprofit foundation has also been fundraising money to support this project, as well as receiving grants to help us with the irrigation upgrades so that we are good stewards of our water resources. So it's really exciting to see that Closed Loop will finally be able to be their much needed irrigation system upgrades also happened. So literally this week, we just received our 2 proposals from 2 different companies here, as well as to see what options we have. And then we'll be making some decisions about how we're going to move forward with that project. So, and new and exciting for the farmers market garden is that we are bringing back composting workshops. And so we have 2 scheduled already, another one in April and another one in October. And there'll be some more also sprinkled out through the time. So it'll be a nice way to get composting back right at the market there, where folks are going to be busy exploring and shopping all at the same time. So. And like we said, the last one is just waste reduction outreach. Lots of different formats from there. So we have lots. Hopefully we'll see you out and about at any of these community events. That's all that we have for today. And again, next month, when the rest of the groups present their parts, just keep in mind that, again, we're just an extension of that. And so hopefully by seeing next month's presentations, it'll all come together. Thank you for the ability to share our program and our updates with the commission. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Jenny and Corey. Really appreciate you guys presenting to us today. It's very impactful. One question that I had is just, I see a lot of like numbers around staff and things like that, but do you have any diversions rates associated with the program that you could provide?
That's the part where that's more on the solid waste part of it, is to look at what numbers are coming from that. We on our end take the information and report back to that, and then they marry that with the overall.
Okay, so it's all integrated into those numbers then. Okay.
Correct. Yes. Okay. Cool. We're just, like I said, we are the secondary way in order to provide more outreach. Because if you think about it, the educators, there's 3 or 4 of them at any point in time. And with that capacity, now you're adding another 54 MRC volunteers, we really are able to extend that outreach just more.
Yeah, I was just thinking with the gardens and everything, I figured that there was still like a diversion number associated with the program itself. So like, I just, in my head, I wanted to see the diversion that the program was creating. So.
Okay. Yeah, we can take a look at that and see if I can get more numbers for sure.
I think that it tells a story, right? Like story of value. So yeah.
We do have, I will say this, we do have plenty of feedback about people, especially for the online part, where we can actually have them respond to us in writing about us making recommendations and then coming back and saying that they have made changes based on that, or they've seen changes because of that. So we do know have those personal stories of that. But in this particular presentation, it's hard to, given again the time frame, 10, 15 minutes, to put everything that we encompass and all, again, those 200 plus volunteers about all the different side conversations that they're having with their neighbors, with their community members, with how they encircle out. So yeah, we can spend on hours.
No, I appreciate it. Paul, go ahead, buddy. What do you got?
Yeah, thank you. Hey, I am really happy to hear about all you're doing. This is new to me, and Olympia is about to undertake a food security discussion that I think this is an important part of. But one thing I did want to ask is the connection between the green bucket that we all use in our homes and the work you're doing. And my sense is it's kind of separate work altogether. But is there a connection between us using the food waste bucket and the work that you're doing that is direct? Or my sense was that those go to composting facilities that would be separate from what you're doing. But is there a connection directly?
Yes. So when we're going out that outreach, whether again it's a virtual question answer clinic or what's virtually or in person, when the residents ask us a question or we provide information, they have the choice of either managing that on site. For example, if we teach folks about how to compost on site in their own residence, or if they don't have that service or don't have an interest in it, then we encourage them to use the curbside options. So we are educating both as far as having the ability to either manage it on site and keep it local in your own, space, or putting it in the curbside. But the goal is to making sure that we do a lot of the educating is about making sure the proper ways or what can and can't go in the bins. So that is most of our outreach. In fact, that's one of the displays that we have is figuring out and explaining for helping answer questions where folks are confused about, can this go in my bin or this, where should this go? So a lot of our volunteers are really out there just explaining those questions and getting the answers that they need.
That's great. Thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate you guys presenting and really thoughtful information right there. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Matt Samuelson, you want to go ahead with our capital facilities project update?
Sure, you bet. We gonna share that on the screen or?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Can you see it on the screen?
Yep. Perfect. Go ahead and go to slide 2. Most of you are familiar with this the format of my presentations. The first slide is always just a depiction of the different projects that we have and that we're planning on and what the estimated timelines and costs are for those projects. And we'll go through each one of those in the following slides. Next slide. Right. So, this is a new one. This replaces the last one, which was the new compactor, the compactor replacement that we did last year, late last year in the fall. But with the reconfiguration coming up, we're going to be needing a second compactor to go in that second transfer station. And so we've added this project. We are really looking at the potential of having the old compactor completely refurbished. And so when we had that removed, I had the technicians inspect that thoroughly from the ground up and do a comprehensive report about the condition of what's essentially the frame and the box. So if they do reconfiguration, they strip everything off down to that frame and that box. They replace the steel lining on the box, and then everything else is brand new. The rams, the hydraulics, the hydraulic pump unit, etc. But what's attractive about that is you do get a similar warranty as a brand new machine, but we can potentially save up to $1.5 million by going that route as opposed to purchasing and having them manufacture a brand new machine. I like to use the analogy. It's like having a 5-year-old car where the engines wore out and systems are wore out, and you're just stripping everything down to the bare frame, right? Having the frame repowder coated and then putting a whole new car together on top of that. So, but the savings is definitely significant, and a large portion of that is in the steel costs. You've got, probably 150,000 pounds of steel. And I think they're somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,500 to 2,000 hours of welding on that box. So definitely taking a hard look at that. And we do have that stored out in the back in the work property. It's been tarped and they put pads down for any oil leaks, etc. So Okay, next slide. Security technology and site improvements. So we completed last year an entire replacement of the security system and the fire alarm system and all of the buildings out at the Wark. And so far, staff has been extremely pleased with the service. They're no longer having false alarms and their phones aren't going off, 3, 4, 5 times a night from false alarm notifications. So they're very, very happy with it. And we're actually looking at likely replacing the systems out at the drop boxes as well in Rainier and Rochester. Much smaller project. We're just talking about the scale houses themselves, or we call it the toll booth, I guess. And so relatively small job, but it will get them all on the same system and get that same service that they're getting now as opposed to the failing service out there. Next slide. Okay, you can give this one, keep the slide in here. Unfortunately, this is painting and some new flooring and some fixtures and bathrooms and whatnot in the office spaces out at the Wark and potentially the drop boxes. Unfortunately, this one kind of takes a lower priority and we're so darn busy right now. We haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm really hoping to at least get some contractors out there and do some painting of the facilities this year. And maybe next year we'll look at some flooring. Depends on the workload with the reconfiguration. Next slide. Okay, and transfer station facility, second location, also known as South County Transfer Station. This project's obviously on hold until we get through the work reconfiguration and expansion of that site. So we do have that as timing, cost, and scope of work schedule, all to be determined. But since it is in the CIP, we like to keep the slide up here and remind folks that that is something we're looking at on the horizon. Next slide. Okay, the big one. The good news here is we did go to the project review committee last week, I think it was. So the project review committee is housed within the Department of Enterprise Services, and it's statutorily required to go through that committee in order for a public agency to be able to pursue an alternative project delivery method, right? So I don't remember the name of the RCW, the number off the top of my head, but there was a statute passed that allowed public agencies to, in certain circumstances, not do a traditional design bid build, where you go out and you pay a designer, and then you take that design and you put it out to bid with a bid package to have it built, right? And so everything is done in silos there. But there are several forms of what we call alternative delivery methods that allow us to not use design bid build. And in this case, we have chosen what's called a progressive design build, which allows us to procure a contractor that specializes in the entire project. And so that contractor will select a designer and subs to do the construction of the work. And we get, the county will have the ability to influence that designer and those subcontractors and influence the selection of them, right? And what's beautiful about it is it allows us to involve all the stakeholders from the very start. And so the contractors getting input in the design, the Republic, our contractor out there, is getting some input in the design, and the county's getting the input. We're getting input from the expert consultants, solid waste experts. So you get this whole team, and it's not a siloed process with different silos. It's one silo, right, where everybody's working together, and allows you to create efficiencies as well as a much better plan for how you actually phase the construction, which is super important with this project, given that we're open, I think, 363 days. something like that a year. And so we absolutely have to maintain business continuity, but even more important is we need to make sure that we're ensuring safety of everybody at the site while these construction activities are going on. And so being able to phase it in this manner is much better approach. And there's plenty of other characteristics about the progressive design build, and that if anybody's interested, and can certainly reach out to me, and I can give you more information on it. But it's really about an hour-long presentation, so I tried to give that at a very high level. We are refining the budget. We did receive our PRC approval on the 25th. We just posted the RFQ yesterday. It went on the website, I think, and it's actually being advertised today in the papers, and it will go again, I think, on the 15th, if I get that correct. No, the 12th. So 2 advertisements there. We've gotten a lot of inquiries from contractors. The consultant is, they're pretty well entwined in the industry, and so they've gotten feedback as well. So we're really anticipating anywhere from probably 4 to 6 design build contractors to respond to the RFQ. We will score those responders. We will shortlist them to probably 2, 3 at the most qualified firms, the highest rated, and then we will actually do an RFP that we just about have complete and ready for that phase. And they will go through that RFP and really give us the proposal on what they can do for us for the budget that we have. So that in a nutshell is where we're at on the reconfiguration. It's been a whole lot of work to get to this point. Been super busy, but now things are going to get really busy as we bring on the contractor and get to work on design and all that. We're anticipating being able to award the contract to a DB contractor in late August. So, next slide. And here's the timeline here. So, I won't bore you with the details. We kind of went over that. We'll look at the very last one, design and construction. We're anticipating beginning design late this year, and construction to go through to the end of 2028. Next slide. And this one is this is the basis of design that the design builder and the designer will be working from with the county and all the stakeholders to try and refine that and give us the optimum design and the best value for our money. With that, I'll pause for questions.
Great. Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much for that presentation. I think Commissioner Klaus has a question for you.
Yeah, you bet. Emily, you're muted.
You're still muted, Emily. No, you're not. You're just not coming through.
Why don't we jump to Jane's question, and Emily figures that out. We'll come back. She's on the spot.
Sounds great.
Hi, Matt. Thanks for that presentation. I just wanted to say I'm really excited that you're looking at the refurbishment approach to the compactor project. I just think that just sounds so financially responsible, but also very well aligned with kind of the principles of waste reduction to incorporate repair and reuse into the actual work you're doing on the ground. And it made me want to ask too, even as you go into things like painting projects, those kinds of things, are you or does the county in general have any guidelines or criteria or ways to incentivize use of recycled, refurbished, repaired supplies and equipment when they go into those kinds of projects? Or are you using MetroPaint in your
I can't really answer that. Maybe one of the staff is
maybe Emily knows.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you now. Yes.
There we go. Okay. I actually don't know the answer to that question, Jane, but that's a good question. And I can write that down and see if I can figure out the answer for you.
Okay, thank you.
Emily, did you still have a
Yeah,
question?
did you have
Or
a question, Emily, on anything?
I do. Yeah, I didn't want
I
to.
assuming Jane was done.
I'm
Yeah,
done. Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
I was waiting to make sure. So yeah, I appreciate the presentation. This is a really exciting and huge project, the reconfiguration project. I know that one of the complicating factors of this is, the fact that you have to stay open at the site while this project is happening. And I'm kind of wondering, like, in terms of safety for staff on site while the construction and reconfiguration is taking place, um, what, like, are there any mechanisms for staff on site to be able to report safety concerns if something comes up during the duration of the project? Or what do those communication channels look like? And then the second part of that is, would those communication channels look any different if we weren't doing the progressive design build?
Yeah, I think that was three questions, maybe two. And they're great question though. And safety is obviously paramount through the entire project. That is one of the huge benefits of doing this progressive design build approach, because you get that contractor talking to that designer and talking to the public out there. LeMay, we may have, some input from them. And then of course staff, operational staff out there. And so that allows you to have those conversations on how you phase this project, right? In order to maximize that safety, maximize the business continuity. One of the things we'll be asking for in the RFP are certain plans, right? So you shortlisted the 2 or 3 design builders that are trying to win the project. And so we'll ask them some questions in that RFP, such as can you describe your plan and approach to safety and business continuity? Right. So it's a great question. We don't have that plan in place yet, but it is a big part of our plans to ensure that becomes the paramount program within the project. Did I answer both your questions there?
Mostly, yeah, that's helpful. So my the second part was that I was wondering if the process of communicating with, like, on the ground operational staff would be any different if the design wasn't progressive design build.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Absolutely, right. With design bid build, you don't get that early contractor involvement. It's called ECI that so they give their feedback again on how the designer is designing the project in order to phase the different parts of it, right? Which allows that input on what is the safest approach for that phasing. How do we do certain aspects of the project, like maybe the dirt work? Where do we start? Where do we move the containers in the meantime, right? And the location of those containers, right? So it minimizes traffic around your customers, that type of thing. So absolutely, in design bid build, you would be stuck with you design it, you put it out for bid, you choose the lowest bidding contractor, and then you sit down and you have those discussions with the contractor after the fact, right? About, okay, here's what our demands are really for safety. And then now you're trying to do all that basically from the back forward instead of the forward back, right?
And just to give you some clarity too, Commissioner Klaus, around the operations of Republic and LeMay in terms of their, like, safety is the forefront of everything that they do. That company prioritizes safety. Those companies prioritize safety above anything else. And at any point in time, any employee, I know this for a fact, any employee at LeMay or Republic can immediately stop work. If they feel as though, like, it doesn't matter if you're the manager, it doesn't matter if you're the lowest, the lot picker, and I'll let Aaron or talk to it a little bit as well. But at any point in time, any employee on the ground can stop work if they feel as though it's just at the paramount of what they do. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll jump in here. So then,
And the other thing too is this unique project, as far as what the plan is showing right now, a benefit is that the project is going to be happening in a lower lot away from where the day-to-day operations happening right now. So they'll be able to do a lot of the building and a lot of the infrastructure onto the side, and then the impact to the public and hopefully the commercial side is minimized throughout the whole project until they're ready to use it, basically. So looking at the plans just that he was just showing shows like a lot of opportunity to keep the construction very separate from the day-to-day operation.
Sure. Yeah, you're absolutely correct there. But an issue that arises there is now you're trying to cram an operation that's already housed in that area, off to the side, right? So like the containers and they're stacking and they're storing. So all that will become part of the discussion. We bringing Republic into the discussions on the design, right? They won't have the final say, but we absolutely want their feedback on, how the design is working out, because they're the ones that are going to have to work with this new design, right? And so we want to make sure that we can do it in a way that optimizes efficiency of their operations as well as the safety of their operations. But then how does that, that's at the end, but how does that work throughout the process, right? And so you're absolutely right. The majority takes place down there, but we still have safety is still going to be a huge issue because you're having those operations down there going on at the same time as you're having the construction activities going on.
Yeah, and I think that it's going to be more from a customer perspective. Customers seeing like having new flow charts, going to new places that they're not historically used to, things like that. I think that the safety component is going to come from the customers coming in there, not so much from the operators inside there.
Yeah. And you've got, the Hazo House and the recycling currently housed down there where the majority of this work is going to be happening, so we'll have pretty deep discussions about what do we do there? Do we go ahead and relocate recycling now, right, ahead of time before you start breaking ground? And then, we have to work with the E&O team and whatnot to get that word out to the public, right? Make sure we have the proper signage and guiding people to the right place, especially when they're operating off of muscle memory, right? So it's going to be a heck of a project. So, and it's a huge project, but we're very confident in the team that we put together, teaming up with Turner and Townsend Erie as our main consultant on that. And then they brought in a solid waste expert as well as a sub-consultant, solid waste construction activities. And then, of course, we brought in Foster Garvey, expert general counsel there, that's helping us through the contract documents. So,
and Matt, just out of a point of clarification too, your new south facility, you still haven't designated the exact location that's going to be yet. Is that correct? Or are you firm that it's going to be in Rochester?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So we're not certain it's going to be Rochester. It's still up in the air about the final location for the south facility.
Yes, and that maybe Emily remembers when Jeff did the last presentation to the board on that, and there was some discussion about siting options, and I'm not sure where it's gone since then because we really are having to kind of table it for now.
Yeah, so just haven't made a determination yet. It's still fluid.
Yeah.
Yes, Dave.
So I can refer Matt and Emily, local Northwest producers of recycled content paint. So you can use those as go-bys if you want. So I'll send you those links if you'd like. That'd be helpful. Sure. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and
you're welcome.
For your answer. I appreciate that. That's really helpful.
Well, thank you so much, Matt, for the presentation. I mean, exciting stuff. You got the whole world watching, I guess, kind of thing, or at least the whole county, right? So everybody.
Yeah, I will note this is the first time, to my knowledge, that Public Works has actually utilized an alternative project delivery approach. or gone to the PRC. So we were pretty happy with the immediate results. They loved the project. They loved how organized we had our team and everything. So we're
Yeah,
feeling pretty good about it. Right?
Yeah,
Knock
we're
on wood.
excited to
Yeah.
see it all play out. So thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Absolutely. Okay, last agenda item, or kind of last, I guess, roundtable discussions. I know David had something he wanted to bring to the forefront, and yeah, I'll let him go ahead.
Okay. So our next meeting is April 2nd, and I will not be here, and I want to tell you why, because it actually relates to the county SWAC and things we do. So it is coincident with there's an organization called the North American Hazardous Materials Management Association, and they are sort of the national organization that deals with household hazardous waste and business, small business hazardous waste. There's a Northwest chapter. I'm on their steering committee, and I volunteered to do a tour of 3 household hazardous waste facilities in Western Washington. Of course, the first one is going to be the Hazo House. And along those lines, I'm hoping that I could get Gerald Towsley or Laura or somebody to maybe give a little 1 or 2 pager for the people. There's going to be, I think, 21 people on the bus plus me as a tour leader. So to have something just to write up 1 or 2 pages about, maybe the history, kind of accomplishments for the people. They will be coming from the Northwest, which includes Oregon, Washington, maybe British Columbia, Idaho. So people from around the region will be coming on this tour. And then the other side of that is for on the health department side. So maybe Jennifer Johnson, if she's got staff that's willing to put together a little 1 or page 2 summary, 1 or 2 pages about our business outreach and accomplishments and things that are going on, what your program looks like. Anyway, bragging. That's what I'm looking for to make Thurston County look good. So if folks can have time and send that to me, I would appreciate it.
It's great. You'll have to give us a review of how it goes down then.
It's going to go great.
Good.
I'm going to go to the Hazel House. I'm going to the Grace Harbor facility, which is only 10 years old. The Hazel House is about 20 years old.
Okay.
And then we're going to the Kitsap facility that we're going to see later in the year.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be done March 31st, and the tour is April 2nd. So I'm not expecting it to be out.
We gotta go to the old Kitsap's facility so they know how good the new one is.
We're not going to do that. I want to show a good example.
Yeah. Any other announcements from the group?
I actually have some announcements regarding our county staff. So as you guys heard from last meeting, our solid waste division manager is retiring, Jeff Bickford. He will be going into retirement for a second time now. We have a few candidates lined up, but we are leaving that job application open-ended. So if you know anybody, please encourage them to apply. Our senior program manager has been filled, and they will be starting on March 16th. And then we will also have an education and outreach 1 position available as well. Those are also known as our recycling and waste reduction specialists. And that application is open until March 21st. So if you know anybody who wants to apply to that, please send them our way. And those are the announcements I have.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, anyone else for the good of the order?
Jane's got something.
Jane, let's go.
Yeah, just to put in a plug for this Saturday, 10 to 2 at the Yelm Community Center. Rob's organized another Fix-It Fair out there, and we invite you all to bring your broken lamps and vases and jewelry and anything else you can break, and come on out and get some help.
That's great. Thank you. All right. Well, hey, thank you everybody for allowing me to chair today. If nothing, the best part about me sharing, I'm gonna make sure we get out early. All right. So with that, I will call it adjourned. And thank you, everyone. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So tell me.